Now we have obtained 3 crowns: the crown of the Sunken King, the crown of the Ivory King, and the crown of the Old Iron King. And with these 3 crowns, together with Vendrick's crown, we can at last achieve the true ending of the Lost Crowns expansion packs. But in order to do so, we need to talk with Vendrick in the past once more, and we will learn the full story behind Vendrick, Nashandra, and the crowns, as well as the nature of the curse. I really like how they reward you with this extra element of story once you complete all 3 expansions for Dark Souls 2. It really adds so much to the character of Vendrick, Nashandra, and just the entire game in general. It adds so much depth, I think, and not to say that the base game of Dark Souls 2 was lacking. I love the story of Dark Souls 2, but the expansion packs just added so much more in terms of story that it makes the whole picture seem even clearer than it was before. And that's what I love about the Lost Crowns expansion packs. They just added so much to this game. So we're going to reach Vendrick's resting place and talk with him in the past one more time and obtain the true treasure of a great king.
Seeker of fire, deliverer of crowns. What do you see in the flames? Find the crowns and your own answers. The crowns hold the strength of lords from times long past. Seek adversity, as befits you, seeker of fire, coveter of the throne. Seeker of fire, conqueror of dark. I too sought fire once. With fire, they say, a true king can harness the curse. A lie, but I knew no better. Seeker of fire, you know not the depth of dark within you. It grows deeper still, the more flame you covet. Flame, oh, flame. Seeker of fire, I see you've subdued another foul creature. One of the father of the abyss spawn. That confounded quintessence of humanity. The abyss once had form, but then dissipated. And yet, traces of its existence endured. Each fragment, thirsting for power, spread dark with no relent. My dear Chandra was one such fragment. A feeble, tiny thing that thirsted for power more than any other. Driven by insatiable lust for a worthy vessel. One day fire will fade, and dark will become a curse. Men will be free from death, left to wander eternally. Dark will again be ours, and in our true shape, we can bury the false legends of yore. Only, is this our only choice? Seeker of fire, coveter of the throne. Seek strength. The rest will follow.
I think perhaps out of any dialogue in the Dark Souls series, that last conversation with Vendrick is one of my absolute favorites. I just love the dialogue and the word choice they use there. It creates so much mystery and wonder, and that's what I love about it. I especially love that last line where he's like, "Seek strength, the rest will follow." I just love the way that goes, and we also learn so much about Nashandra too through his dialogue, in that she is indeed a fragment of Manus, the father of the Abyss, and that the Abyss has dissipated, but in doing so, it has given physical form to these essentially daughters of the Abyss, and Nashandra is one of those, and she's technically the weakest of them, which is saying something given what will happen when we run into her. But upon completing the final dialogue with Vendrick, we saw that we obtained the power within one of the crowns. So now whenever we wear a crown of one of the fallen kings, we are now immune to the curse. We haven't broken the curse, but just so long as we wear one of the crowns, our character will never go hollow. And I love this reward. I think it's a really cool thing to give the player at the end of the game, and it also makes an element of the final boss fight a little bit easier, in my opinion. So now we journey onwards, back to Drang Lake Castle, back to the Throne of Want, where we will confront Nashandra for the first flame and the true throne.
My journey is already complete. My name is Shanalot. The dragon gave me this name, for I was born with none. I was born of dragons, contrived by men. By ones who would cozen fate herself. They are the ones who created me. But they failed. I did not come out as intended. Fate would not be bested, and men were cursed once again. If you proceed, Nashandra will come after you, knowing that you will take the throne and link the fire. She covets the first flame and the great soul. Put Nashandra to rest.
We've just witnessed the final fate of the Emerald Herald, in that she has completed her journey. She was built from dragons, essentially, as she says, to cause in fate, but fate would not be bested, and she failed in what she was built for, what she was created for. But she found a new purpose in finding someone who could ascend the true throne and to link the fire, or to bring in the next age of dark. She doesn't have any specific agenda, I would say, but she just wants that person to reach the goal that she herself could never reach. And I love the Emerald Herald. She's one of my favorite NPCs in the entire Dark Souls series. I just love her design and the story behind her. As we find out, it's actually a little bit tragic. But now we have completed Shanalot's story, and we proceed to the final showdown.
Brave undead. You have proven yourself to me. Now, be one with the dog.
Many monarchs have come and gone. One drowned in poison, another succumbed to flame. Still another slumbers in the realm of earth. Not one of them stood here, as you do now. You, conqueror of adversities. Give us your answer. And remain here, patiently. The throne will certainly receive you. But the question remains. What do you want? Tell me. Light, dark, or something else entirely?
You who link the fire. You who bear the curse. Once the fire is linked, souls will flourish anew, and all of this will play out again. It is your choice to embrace or renounce this. Great Sovereign, take your throne. What lies ahead, only you can see.
And as the credits roll, my playthrough of Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, comes to a close. I really love the finale for Dark Souls 2. I think it might very well be my favorite of the entire series. I love the final fight against the Soul of Cinder in Dark Souls 3, but if I had to choose, I think I like the duo fight between Nashandra and Arya just a hair more. I love the lore, the battles, and the intrigue, and everything story-related surrounding that fight. I just think it makes for a terrific finale. And I love how ambiguous it all is in true Dark Souls fashion, how they don't give you all the answers at the end there, and that they leave a lot of it up to your own interpretation. Like, even when you ascend the throne, they don't say whether you will link the fire or let the fire fade. The only thing they do tell you is that this cycle will play out again, and that's a story element that's picked up in Dark Souls 3, which I love. My final lore description for Dark Souls 2 goes to Nashandra, and this lore description, which is her soul, reads: Soul of Nashandra, Queen of Drangleic. The fragments of the abyss, of untold origin, nourish their beings by the sides of would-be monarchs. Perhaps they were simply ordeals on the road to kinghood. One day the flames will fade, and only darkness will remain. Unless, of course, an heir arrives. And we are that heir. We're the only one who truly made it to the Throne of Wund, because not even Nashandra, Arya, King Vendrick made it this far. I love that line of dialogue Arya has where he says, "None of these kings stood here where you do now." I just think that's so cool that our character has come so far in their own journey. They started out like someone who had lost all hope, essentially, and was looking for any way to break the curse. And we ultimately become the true king and ascend the Throne of Wund. I just think that's such a terrific end for our own character in this story. And I also think that Nashandra is a great villain. I love her as the true final antagonist of the game, and I really like facing off against her at the end. I think she's a really cool boss fight. She's not terribly hard, but she makes for a fun, challenging final opponent. Unless, of course, you're going up against the optional final boss, which is Arya, the Scholar of the First Sin. Now, this is a great optional fight that I'm very happy they added, because I think it makes a terrific and somber final moment for the game. I think Arya's presence here at the end just adds so much, and I love how the fight against him goes, and that he's a very unique boss, I think, in terms of Dark Souls, but even more important, I think the story surrounding him is extremely captivating and fascinating. There's just so much about his character, the way he found a way outside of the cycle of fire and dark, and how he is essentially now an observer of the world. And they actually added a second ending in Scholar of the First Sin, where you can essentially abandon the throne and leave with Arya to find out the true nature of the world. It's a very interesting way to end the game, but I decided to go with the default ending, which is, I think, the more canon one, where you ascend the Throne of Wund and continue the life cycle of the world until it reaches its ultimate conclusion in Dark Souls 3. So in general, I love the way this game ends, and I love the story of Dark Souls 2 in general. I think, as I said, it probably is my favorite of the three games, even though I love all three of them. If I had to pick a favorite, I think Dark Souls 2 wins out. And moving on to some of my more closing thoughts, I had 49 deaths total in this game, and I have to say that is slightly embarrassing. I didn't do as well as I thought I would. I think my more heavy strength build kind of killed me more often than I would have liked, but I still had loads of fun playing through this, and I hope you had loads of fun watching me, deaths and silly mistakes and all. First, I want to thank FromSoftware for making this wonderful sequel. I know that's somewhat of an unpopular opinion sometimes among the Souls community, but I love Dark Souls 2 and everything within it, story, gameplay, and all. And I want to thank everyone who's watched this playthrough from the beginning. I hope you've had as much fun watching it as I did playing it. And thank you everyone who offered their support and feedback during the course of this playthrough. It means a lot to me, and I hope you had fun watching me play one of my favorite games of all time. So thank you again to everyone, FromSoftware included, for this great experience, and until next time, keep having great adventures, everyone.